you know Nintendo history, you'll notice something every minute. Every minute. There's always a nice bit of nostalgia that goes on almost every minute in this movie. But I will also say that for me, that's probably, as much as I enjoyed seeing some of those things, that's probably the biggest weakness of the movie is all of the Easter eggs, all of the recognizable things from the game. It's been, can you believe this? It's been over 30 years since that first, yes, that Super Mario Brothers movie came out.
Where are we?
I got a feeling we're not in Brooklyn no more.
People saying, that don't look like no goddamn Super Mario Brothers. What the hell is that?
Who the hell is that?
Who the hell is that? What the hell is that? That ain't no Super Mario that I know. That's not a Mario right there. And you're right, because at the time when this came out, real Mario fans, real Nintendo fans, they looked at this and their hearts were immediately broken. And they just sat there with a tear in their eye and they said, well, I guess we'll just have to wait until next time. Whenever they make the next one, whenever that'll be 30 years later. Folks, yes, 30 years later, we finally have this one. 30 years later, some of these fans that were waiting, some of them are dead.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. 30 is a long time. Just died of waiting. Died of a broken heart. Some of those will never see that day when that new Mario came in, man.
So some of those fans from back in the day were 50 years old.
Some of them were 50 years old, yes. Some of them were. They have all, hey, that Mario, man, he has a lot of appeal over different demographics. That 50-year-old guy who was sitting up there waiting for that new Mario movie to come out, dead now. I'm probably just too crazy to even know where
he rolled over in his grave. I can't have my heart broken again.
Not again. So he says, well, those people, they'll never get to see that vision. But, for those of you who have been waiting, well, the wait is over. Kinda. The wait is over. The movie is here. And hey, one thing you can say is that just by first impressions, just at a glance, this looks like Mario. Why, this looks like the game. This looks like the property I grew up with. But that's just looks. I mean, this is a whole movie. Can this movie actually capture what that first movie missed the first time? Well, just on looks alone, it already did. But how about everything else? Can this movie get it right for those who have waited for so long? Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer for Super Mario Brothers, the movie. Well, I guess he got it wrong. Those are fans beating his ass right now. Ruined my childhood with you.
Oh my God, okay. Wahoo!
Everybody knows Mario. Like I've been saying, this is probably one of the biggest icons since, I don't know, Mickey Mouse. I'm damn near close to it. But for those who are the uninitiated to Super Mario and his brother Luigi, Super Mario is he's a plumber. Before he was super, he was just an average plumber. And him and his brother, they tried to start their own business, failing miserably. I mean, even his family said, damn, you can't do shit, Mario. Your brother, you just bring your brother down with you. Why don't you quit trying to do for yourself and go work for that man again? But fortunately for him, around Brooklyn, there's a lot of disturbances with the plumbing. And he looks at Luigi and he says, we can save Brooklyn. They said, who's going to save Brooklyn? Well, it's me, I will. Mario and Luigi. And when they say this will be good for our business. And when they go out to save Brooklyn, they go and check the plumbing and they hit one pipe that leads into a mushroom world that's being threatened by a giant turtle that wants to marry their fine ass princess who's also a human. Don't ask. You know, it's
Did you have a stroke just now?
Well, let's say.
I didn't make it. Don't ask me that.
It's not like you just shook up a bunch of random words and threw them on the table.
One question though. Am I wrong?
No.
Okay,
you're not wrong. It's just when you actually say it, it's like, oh.
Yeah. They need help. And this man who could not actually get his plumbing right for his plumbing business over in Brooklyn, how can this man actually help this world full of mushroom people that's being threatened by this big, giant, evil turtle who wants to marry this princess? And on top of that, maybe, just maybe, can he win the affections of this princess too? There's been a lot of, there was a lot of discussion and concern before we saw anything about this movie, before we saw even a still from this movie. We saw one frame from this film, and that was about Chris Pratt. People were so worried about Chris Pratt being the voice of Mario. They said, well, you know what? He doesn't sound like a stereotypical Italian man. I don't know if he's gonna be able to do the job. I can only speak for myself. I've heard different opinions out there since this has come out, and some people have seen early screenings. For me, Chris Pratt is fine. Now, I'll admit maybe he could have been more New York Italian. You know, he could have put just a little more Tony Soprano in there or something. But as far as the voice goes, I think he's fine, man. I thought how they explained why he doesn't have an accent, I thought that was actually pretty hilarious, and I thought that was pretty clever. And you missed that part in the movie.
Yeah. I missed the very beginning. And I'll tell you the story of that when we get later. Well, but I gotta say that listening to him, I was like, you know what? I think this works. Just the idea, because it's like, man, he's not doing enough of a stereotypical Italian. It's like, would that even fly? Would that be cool today at all? If anybody did it? No,
hell no.
So making him, a Brooklyn Italian American, I was like, all right, this works. And even doing that accent, you can lay it on too thick to where it could be offensive. And, maybe he could have added a little bit more. But I was like, this works.
Well, I'm going to tell you, see, the part you miss is that, so I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I will tell you that they did do the accent. And they spent about 30 seconds putting A's between every word, and I was like, you know what? Because they started out talking about, it's me, we having a plumbing problem. Oh, Luigi, we can help the people in Brooklyn. And I was just like, you know what? I said, oh hell no,
Oh, hell no!
I can't take this shit no more. I said, no, we can't. I'm not even talking from an offensive standpoint. I'm just saying this would get on my nerves.
Oh,
if
yeah.
we did this.
Yeah.
If you were talking like this through the whole movie, I'm getting on your nerves talking like this right now. If they did that through the whole movie, the way you heard them talking, it was cute, it was funny. I think it was hilarious the way it started out. But if they did that through a whole movie, that would get old real quick.
Now, people get annoyed so damn fast.
And they might have tested it that way and then said like,
nah, hell no.
You don't want that. You want this fool going to this movie talking about sounding like Jar Jar Binks or something?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. Otherwise, you just hire Roberto Benigni, and nobody wants that either.
No, you don't want. You don't even know who Burnham. You don't know who that is, do you?
No.
Why you laughing there?
Because way more
I mean, it's funny. I was like, you don't even know. Talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Why you call him out like that?
Laughing. I said, I know. What the hell you laughing? I know good and damn well you don't know who that is. But I like the way you took it. You know who that is, do you? No, I don't. I ain't gonna lie. But I will tell you this. This is not really the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's the Mario movie. I'll tell you, if I was Luigi, I'd be kind of pissed, man, because it's funny, because at the beginning of the movie, there's a point where Mario looks at his dear brother Luigi, and says, you know what, together we can take on anything. And those fools split right apart. I know, right? And they spent most of the movie apart. Mm-hmm. It was funny because Donkey Kong had more time with Mario than his own brother.
Oh, yeah.
We ain't lying.
I'd be mad.
We ain't lying.
Donkey Kong came in like he thought it was his movie.
He should did. Those two are more brothers than Luigi and Mario in this movie.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm not that familiar with the games, but there's like, Mario World?
Oh, this Mario Galaxy,
Yeah, it's
Sunshine,
Well, Mario Kart.
Mario Kart.
You got a lot
Is
of
that
Mario.
Luigi Kart?
Yeah, well,
Luigi
no,
Mansion.
You got Luigi's Mansion.
Okay.
Which he goes into a haunted house and does Ghostbuster stuff, plumber style. it's actually a fun
I'm
game.
sure it is. I'm sure
Yeah,
it is. I'm
it's
sure
actually
it
a really
is.
good game.
Just like everything in this, when you say it out loud, it sounds ridiculous.
Like I said,
Oh, man,
I
that's
know,
Nintendo, bro.
I know.
You gotta
You just hit and report it. That's all.
Listen, man, you gotta be in my shoes. I grew up with the Mario. Now I'm one of those kids who I grew up because y'all think y'all grew up with Nintendo. I grew up with Nintendo, man. I was about 9 years old when the first Mario game came out, which is technically a Donkey Kong game.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I remember that in the arcade.
Yeah.
It was something new.
Yeah,
Donkey Kong
yeah.
Country? Or
No,
just Donkey Kong.
It was just Donkey Kong, man. It was about a gorilla throwing barrels at a little Italian man.
I remember you showed that clip.
Yeah, because
a
he
while
stole
back.
his girlfriend.
Oh, what?
He stole this dude's girlfriend and just
It's like King Kong.
it's like King Kong. Yeah, he stole this dude's girlfriend. I'll show you a clip of it later. But he stole this dude's girlfriend and ran up on some girders and started saying, and he started throwing barrels at this dude.
And lighting them on fire.
Yeah, he was throwing it. Yeah, it was and so imagine my surprise when I played this game and they had 2 sequels. Some of y'all don't even know these sequels that came out. We'll do a whole discussion another day. But they did 2 sequels that were kind of on theme with this little Italian man fighting this gorilla. And then all of a sudden, him and his brother go to a world of mushrooms. I'm like, what the
They got high.
yeah. Like they were on shrooms.
Was mine supposed to come with a mushroom?
Yeah. And we didn't ask any questions because it was an amazing game.
Sure.
It was fun. We
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, oh, Mario's back and he's hopping on mushrooms. We don't give a shit. This is a fun game. So this has gone through a lot of crazy evolution, if you say. But I'm sorry that Luigi wasn't in it as much because Charlie Day as Luigi, I really liked him, man.
I did too, because most of the time I couldn't tell it was Charlie Day.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
could. As soon as he started yelling, I was like, I
when
know
he
who
yelled,
that is.
No, when he yelled, I could, but the rest of the time I couldn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really liked Charlie Day as Luigi. I'm gonna tell you though, when I'm talking about Mario and Donkey Kong being together most of the movie, I like that. I like them. I thought they had a good buddy comedy routine going on.
A rivalry.
But it goes back to it pays homage to the original origins
Sure.
of Mario and Donkey Kong. They've always had sort of a rivalry throughout the history of Nintendo.
Yeah.
They've been frenemies in a way throughout the.
All right.
But you don't know the. You don't know.
I didn't know that. I just always thought that they were friends.
There's actually a point where Mario was a villain in a game.
Really?
A lot of
What?
people don't know. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Who was the hero?
Donkey Kong. We'll talk about. We'll do a discussion on it one day. Some of y'all might not know, but yeah, he was the villain of the game.
And that wasn't Wario?
No, not Wario. That was Mario.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We'll talk about that again some other time. But just talking about the movie, going back to the movie here. One of the things that I talked about when we first saw the trailer for this, it actually made my list of movies I was anticipating and the most for 2023 because I thought that it just looked amazing. I thought that it's they fleshed out this world really great, man. They did a wonderful job of translating the game world to the screen, and they do a good job at taking the look of Mario and applying that to things that we really haven't seen, like the city of Brooklyn, to Mario's family. His family is designed to look a lot like him.
Well, they pop up later, so I did get to see them.
Oh, okay, you did get to see him. You did not get to see them be assholes, though.
Oh no, yeah, them first 10 minutes, boy.
Boy, they don't.
You ain't gonna be shit.
Yeah, they really.
Okay, when that got referenced later,
Yeah.
I didn't realize it really was a
Boy,
thing.
they criticize his ass bad. That don't do nothing for him. And the thing is, they're right. But then, you know, at least give some constructive criticism besides saying you ain't shit and you ain't gonna be shit. And your brother's not gonna be shit because you breaking them down.
Damn.
Yeah. It was almost
Your brother could be something if it wasn't for
if
you.
it weren't for you and
That's what they were saying.
and all Portland Ridge you can do is just sit there and be like, man, you know I ain't saying nothing. But it was almost like that scene in The Clumps where they're around the table making fun of the Nutty Professor.
Yeah.
What was it, Sherman or whatever his name is? Yeah, it was rough, man. I was like, you know, at least give him some positive feedback.
Right.
I'm like, God damn, that should be a level in the game, trying to get through dinner with these assholes around here. But the Mushroom Kingdom, nicely fleshed out, man. It looks like a theme park come to life. All the mascots came to life, the rides came to life. It's as far as the look of it, it kind of exceeded my expectations.
Got a big adventure happening right now.
I saw that. I'm like, are they robbing ATMs?
I didn't quite get it. What are they doing?
Oh, when the game, if you hit a block that looks like that, you get coins.
And coins are like
So that's
currency.
that's the thing. There's a lot of game references in there.
Well, okay, but they're just hitting them, just getting coins and not doing anything else.
That's currency for them. That's like money to them.
Yeah,
Okay.
they ain't got no job. They just
They just hit the coins all damn day.
They just rob these ATMs over here. Just going
Yeah, I
about
was
that
gonna say,
day.
it sounds like they are robbing the ATMs.
Yes.
If I could just.
There you go.
Excuse me. Way to fly, man.
Oh wow, love these pipes.
You do better stick your head in it like that. He's about to shoot himself. I have to say, I love the score to this movie. Mm-hmm. What you just heard right there a little while ago. I like video game orchestrations because I like a lot of video game music, especially when a lot of video games that I grew up with were kind of chip tune or 8-bit sound of music.
Yeah.
You know, to hear, I would love to go online and listen to orchestrations of those songs, and that's you heard that's kind of what they were doing here. I really love that the music here, man. As far as again the score goes, you know,
It really did give me that theme park, that Disneyland, Disney World theme. You walking around with all these characters, it's color, and that music's playing.
and that music's playing. I mean, it's a great way to sell an actual amusement park. They got in the Super Nintendo World. I think they got one at Universal now
Yeah, in California.
in California. Yeah. Thought the voice work was the voice work varies, man. I don't know how you feel about it. I would say that you get people like Anna Taylor-Joy, who's Princess Peach, and Michael Keegan Key. He doesn't even sound like himself right here.
Who was he?
He was Toad.
He was Toad.
He was Toad.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's why I didn't know who that
Wow.
was.
Yeah, he was Toad. And the thing is, you know, they hired them for that name, but they could be anybody. You know, I don't think you can really tell. You definitely can't tell that that's him. And she does well. She's fine, but that can be any female.
I just know her voice now so much. She's been in so many things that I keep seeing her when Princess is talking.
I can't distinguish her voice like that yet. It just sounded like anybody to me. Anybody who could act and does a voice. Donkey Kong, though,
On the other hand,
says Seth Rogen. Now, shit, if you told me that you were gonna cast Seth Rogen as a big hairy ape, I'd be like, perfect. You know? So I'm fine with him being I could tell it was him, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, that's
Easy.
the thing. With everybody, you're like, I think that might be them. Oh, I hear a hint of it. But him,
Hey, no,
Donkey Kong's just Seth
Yeah.
Rogen.
yeah. As soon as you see him, you're like, oh yeah, that's Seth Rogen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Keegan Michael Key. Sorry, I got his name. I always get his name reversed. But I can tell it's Seth Rogen. Look, if you like Seth Rogen, then you'll be fine with this. If you don't, then I guess you'll be annoyed. I thought, it was, like I said, it's a big gorilla. His voice sounded perfect for that for me.
A big childish gorilla.
Yeah, it sure was. Yeah.
So that's what made it work. Because normally I'd have been annoyed, but I was like, you know what, this actually works for this personality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shut up.
exactly. Hey, Dad, look at me. Dad, like, boy, if you don't quit playing. Jack Black, of course, is Bowser. I'm gonna say that Jack
Get that picture from.
from the movie. You don't remember that part? Oh yeah, man. That was early development of the movie. He's doing motion
Everybody
capture.
say motion capture.
Jack Black, I would say, is unrecognizable. in the best way. Now that's what I kind of like, Toad, I guess you could say with Keegan-Michael Key, it was cool, but Jack Black was really giving a great performance.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, everybody's decent to good or very good, but Jack Black is awesome.
Stole the show.
Yeah. You only recognize him when he sings. And he does have a couple of moments here where he sings in here.
But he gave the character a lot of dimension just with his voice.
No, he did. He did. And listen, there's a lot of fun to be had with the Easter eggs in the movie. Because there's a lot of history with them. It's just not visual. There's a lot of history with the Easter eggs. Like I said, if you grew up in the era of Super Nintendo, like I did, everybody who was somebody had a Super Nintendo when they were, or a Nintendo when they were a kid, and if you grew up in that era of Nintendo, Super Nintendo, if you even were in the arcade like I was when these games were coming out, Nintendo history, you'll notice something every minute. There's always a nice bit of nostalgia that goes on almost every minute in this movie. But I will also say that for me, that's probably, as much as I enjoyed seeing some of those things, that's probably the biggest weakness of the movie is all of the Easter eggs, all of the recognizable things from the game. I listen, I can tell you this, by no means at all is this that Super Mario movie from 1992. No, listen, that's a whole other level. Today you have to try hard to be that bad. You really got to go in to do what they do there. But this is a movie that I think that, I can't speak for everyone, but I do think that it functions most effectively when it's for the fans. This is a movie that is pretty much, it was made strictly for the fans. And from a business standpoint, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Targeting your core audience, your core demographic, the ones who are going to pay the money and not complain when you give them what they want. Nothing wrong with that. Those are the ones who respond the most. What was really cool was seeing how the platforming, the platforming playability, how it works when brought into into a more dimensional space. Because, platforming is like two dimensional, except when you start getting to the later Mario games, then you start going into it's like, Super Mario, what was it, 3D back on 64 and all that. But what they did was they took like the side scrolling platform functionality, the 2D platforming, and took it and put it in a 3D world. And it was cool to see, things like in the style of Super Smash Brothers or Super Mario Brothers, seeing how that all works out when brought into a more dimensional space.
If you can finish this, you're coming with me.
In the video game, she's always getting captured by Bowser. So I'm like, if you could do that shit, how the hell you keep getting captured by Bowser?
Because they want to make a strong female.
I know.
Back when she was getting captured by Bowser, that's when you had the whole damsel in distress thing going on, and females were, we've outgrown that now. So they want to make her more of a badass now. That's why they did that. Also watching Mario Kart come to life, that's the car chase of the film, and it's fun. It's also kind of, I won't spoil anything, but there's also some moments where they give you, without saying too much, they hint at things. Like, I think there's a clever hint as to what Bowser is doing to the henchmen that he kills. Yes, it's insinuated that he kills some of his henchmen, but they show you what happens to them when they go there. At least that's what I read into it. So things like that I thought were cool. But sorry, Pixie's she's don't tell me you gotta go take a shit now. Don't do this. Don't do this. But everything is centered around references in the movie mostly. And now I don't think that there's a lot of cleverness outside of that. I'm saying this for a reason when I think about other things that are out there. But I'll see what you guys think.
Other things that are out there? Are you like other animated movies?
Well, since you asked, I'll pass it on to you. But since you asked, let me just go ahead and point out what I'm thinking right now. Because, and like I said, for fans, that is awesome. I haven't, and I'm not trying to just, sound like I'm, being harsh on the movie or trying to take that away from you. That's not it at all. It's a personal preference for me. I personally prefer movies that can take the elements from the game, appeal to the fans, but also, be smart enough to make a story that appeals to non-fans, because that's been done. That's one of the reasons why we said video game movies were getting better. It didn't start with The Last of Us. It started with these family animated movies. Sonic, Sonic the Hedgehog, especially Sonic 2.
Yeah.
That expanded itself into a superhero movie that general audiences could enjoy, while still keeping the nods to the fans in there, which I thought was pretty cool. Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu didn't even bother to set up the world for you. They just threw you in the middle of the world, but they made it a mystery within the world that fans could follow. I'll even go as far as say Angry Birds. Angry Birds 2, that is, not 1. Angry Birds 2, I thought was all right. They made that a straightforward comedy out of a really silly and crazy premise. Almost as crazy as Super Mario. Pigs invading a bird world. But they just made it a comedy that was easily accessible while still keeping the fans in mind. I think that those were more effective than what they do here. I think that this is something that is really just kind of more nostalgia, more visual recognition on certain elements from the game. And like I said, for the fans, that's great. For me, that just kind of takes it down a notch, because I just don't think it does it as well as some of these other movies that we've seen that have actually made video game movies go up a notch. Big props to Sonic for that, man. That's one everybody, that was one they were worried about. And that's when I thought, like, okay, this is a model on how you do this. But those are the things I'm referencing right there.
Okay. I was just curious. So I come in as not a fan, and the Easter eggs that you either loved or that bothered you went over my head for the most part. I've played Mario Kart some, and I'm aware of some of the stuff, but I didn't grow up with it. Yeah, like I'm getting an education just listening to you guys. This is the video game movie that's really immersed you in the video game world. And just from the little bit I know about it, I also admired how it took the flat plane side scrolling and imagined it in a 3D space and brought those worlds to life. Not being a fan and not getting the references, I still had a lot of fun watching it. I felt like I was there in it. And I don't know if it's hard to say what my expectations were. I didn't really have any. I was like, well, I don't know much of this. I was like, well, Julian likes it, maybe. I don't know. But watching, I was like, you know what? I'm having a lot more fun than I thought I would. I dug the characters and especially the voice acting, especially Jack Black as Bowser. It just gave it. I was like, this. You know what? This is not on the level of a Pixar movie or even a DreamWorks. But for Illumination, this is top notch for them. I mean, it does fall into the trap of the big action climax that they always do. Mm-hmm. And it's got a bunch of needle drops, but it's not like, hey, everybody, let's stop and do a dance along with it. And I thought the needle drops kind of went along.
Yeah, no, it's a short movie. Well, I remember when an hour and a half just used to be normal.
Yeah.
Now, everything got to be 3 hours long.
But I mean, to me, the biggest drag to it is that it's just such a flimsy story. But they have a lot of personality within that. And the fact that, hey, it was a flimsy story, but they didn't keep you there longer than you had to.
Yeah, no, I remember Julian said he thought that this needed some more time. I was like, oh, hell no, I need to get the hell out of there.
Really?
You told me that, yeah.
No. You thought it was fine where it was at. Like, you didn't think it needed to be any longer than it
I don't think, no, I did not need to be in there no longer, man.
Wow.
I could have left about 15 minutes earlier. If you want to know the truth, I didn't need to be in there too much longer.
I think that was the biggest problem with the movie. They didn't allow a lot of things to breathe. You know what I'm saying? They're sticking on things and they're just quickly moving. Like the pace of this movie to me was just way too fast.
You talk about the needle drops. That's one thing that Illumination does, arbitrarily putting in pop songs. I didn't like that in this movie. I just thought there was probably a couple of times where it's like, all right, it makes sense here, but you didn't really need that. I love the score here so much. I just don't like when Illumination's just putting in pop songs because they feel like they have to appeal to
Illumination is going to illuminate.
I know. It does.
Yeah, because when they put in "Take on Me," and I was like, this has nothing to do with anything.
It had nothing to do with anything.
They always pick stuff that's been overplayed.
Exactly.
I need a hero again.
I was shaking my head like, man, I can't. I just normally it doesn't bother me, but right now now you're just putting stuff in there. You talking now at the point you talking about what have we used? What have we not used yet?
What haven't we used for a third time?
Or what you got on your playlist right now? Just pop it in, man. But it don't go. I don't give a shit. Pop it in. I will always say that you can do something with these stories because every one of these things that we talked about. We talked about Sonic. We talked about Detective Pikachu right here. The Pokemons right here. And don't even get me started with Angry Birds. People are like, how the hell are you gonna make a phone app? Phone app game into a movie. It can be done. So I would never accept the excuse of, well, what did you want them to do? It ain't much of a story anyway. Well, you can always do something because we've seen over and over again, you can do something. I refuse to accept that from people. But I will say that I got to give him this. It is a hard premise to adapt. Two Italian brothers going to a magical mushroom land, hanging with mushroom people. It's crazy. It can't be done.
It's a little Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I just thought that, the difference between something like the Wizard of Oz and this is that this is really relying on nostalgia. And that's just something I just don't like, as you know. But for fans out there, hardcore fans, that is probably what you want. And that's what you get with this. I mean, it was even working for me on a certain level. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm turning my nose up to this or anything like that. I'm not. I know who this is exactly for. And I think that you'll enjoy it very much. Don't let my personal opinions come in and tell you that this is not enjoyable, because I think you will have a lot of fun. I had some fun in certain parts too. Mario has a very fanatical base. It's been around for years. Different generations have grown up playing these games. And I don't see any reason why, especially if you're a kid who loves Super Mario, and they do, I don't see why you would not go in here and love this. But kids are a little more forgiving too. So anyway, go ahead and close up. I mean, Julian, you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I mean, look, I grew up on the games. You know what I'm saying? That's just so every reference that they're throwing in this movie, I was catching on to every single one of them. So me personally, I was in like a fun land. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh my God, I know what that is. I know what that is. I know what that is. So me watching this, I'm just having the time of my life.
Yeah. What do you rate it?
Are we gonna rate it right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll give it a. Okay, it's two different ratings though. Like me, just as a fan of the games, I think it's a full price. But me critically, I think it's a matinee.
Okay. Martin, what do you think?
Yeah, the nostalgia doesn't work on me, but it didn't, as that goes, it didn't drag me down. Surprisingly, I still had fun with it. I was smiling. This movie, it's really a commercial for the games.
Yeah.
When you think about it,
very much.
There's no escaping that, but it's also an effective commercial, because while I'm never thinking about these games, while I was watching it, it made me want to play.
I did too. I did want to play.
So I got to give them props for that. I found it to be a matinee.
Yeah, I'm more critical of the stuff that I saw in here with it being a commercial. Like I said, I really enjoyed the movies that I told you about, and I am going to hold it up against those standards, because I think, again, these movies seem like they try to be more than just a commercial for the games. And a lot of the stuff, like you said, I grew up in these games longer than you, and I'm still an adult playing some of these. I got Mario Kart, on my Switch right now that I, occasionally go in and mess with. So I recognize everything in here, and it is a lot of fun to do that. And some people might get more enjoyment out of that than I do, because I got a lot of fun with catching those things. It really was a walk down memory lane for me. But I'm taking this as a movie though, and as a whole, I'm still somewhat positive for it, just not as positive as you guys. I would give this. And like I said, if you're a super fan, you'll love this. Go enjoy it. Have fun. I give this a very high rental. It had a lot of, you got to be more than just a moneymaker for me. You got to be more than just trying to push a product. And I think that's what this movie kind of felt like to me. But again, a lot of people want that product. Y'all are fiends out there. So enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. It is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. I just didn't have that much fun where I felt like I need to be in the theater that long with it. But I did have fun when I was in there. So it is a positive review from me. High rental. High rental is actually a good review.